I guess the point of this video is to say, if you've got a bike, fucking ride the thing. Like a lot of you out there, I spend a lot of my time thinking about used motorcycles. But specifically, the amount of used motorcycles out there that have barely seen the light of day. Super low miles. And when I think about that, I think about the damage that does to the
just a quick note. Hang on.
market.
Shut up, you dick.
Anyway, if you like this type of content and the reviews I do, it'd be great and appreciated if you could like, comment, share and subscribe. Cheers. I think about that as in how much level of proficiency and competency do these riders have that aren't doing many miles? And then as an extrapolation of that, what makes a biker? Now, the first point, these super low miles bikes. There is so much stock out there which has got 1,000, 2,300 miles, which is not very old. And all of us clamber over those low mileage bikes because it's what we want, because you might want to save the money over a new bike and you want something that's running already. But for those that do miles, I put myself in that bracket. Between my two bikes, I maybe do 20,000 miles a year. I've killed the value of my GS for certain. It's only a year and a half old and it's at 17,000 miles. But the amount of miles those bikes do is a reflection of the passion we have for these bikes. Hence why I mentioned what makes a biker and its miles. Now, this took me to do some quite low-level research on ChatGPT and on Google about the average miles a biker does. Now, the average bike will do about 3,000 miles a year. And if you assume for all types of road, they're averaging 50 miles an hour, that's 60 hours of riding. 60 hours of riding on a machine which I think we're all honest with ourselves are way better than we could ever ride them. So that then took me on to what number of hours of doing a thing would justify competency or proficiency. Now, Malcolm Gladwell has talked about the 10,000 hours to become a master at it. That's a long time, absolutely. But as you can see here, as ChatGPT is offering me other sources, the 100 hours can be gained sufficient at a basic level of competence. 500 to 1,000 is cited a good level of proficiency, and 2,000 hours is considered a milestone, whereas the individual has solid proficiency. Right. So if you're doing 3,000 miles a year and you're only doing 60 hours a year, it's going to take you nearly 2 years for basic competency. In my instance, I'm doing 400 hours a year. So I'm not saying I'm any better than anybody else, but that's according to that criteria. Now, why this is important. 3,000 miles a year on the used bike market. So let's say you're going to chop that bike in after 2 years. It's only done 6,000 miles. And the price will be what the price is, which the market can sustain. But as my father has always said to me, with the thing with motorbikes, we can buy Ferrari level performance for the same price as a used Mondeo. So we have all of that performance that's way better than all of us, where we're not gaining any credible amount of proficiency over the time we should be using that bike. So if, and I'm not saying it is, if being a biker is down to proficiency, are we bikers? Or is being a biker just the very act of owning one and not riding it? Or is it the size of bike? Because you can afford a big bike, you're a biker, versus a Deliveroo or an Uber Eats rider on a moped doing God knows how many miles they do in all weathers. Or is it the stereotypical Hollywood image of a tattooed, long-haired guy riding a Harley? Now, I'm sure there's no answer to that. But it does beg the question that if you would consider yourself a biker, a part of being a biker would be proficiency. A part of that proficiency is doing more miles, which means that the used bikes market shouldn't be full of low mileage bikes. Because as long as it is full of low mileage bikes, anybody that actually uses their bike is heavily penalised. I don't know. I guess the point of this video is to say, if you've got a bike, fucking ride the thing. Cheers.